Anu Radio.
Ṣebí Naija nìyẹn o, Sisi, ó ṣe wá ń gbẹ̀sẹ̀ bí òyìnbó. Ó ṣàmọ̀rú ẹ̀, Sisi, ó ṣe wá ń pàjọ lẹ́kún bí òyìnbó. Ọwọ́ gbàlẹ̀ ṣá, ẹsẹ̀ gbà pọ́tà. Orí wa ń fi dùgbẹ́dùgbẹ́ bí àgámà. Kóńgò, 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 thunder. Ìbàdí nìjọ wà, ẹgbẹ́jọ́. Ìbàdí nìjọ wà, ẹgbẹ́jọ́. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀, ẹgbẹ́jọ́. Ìsàlẹ̀ ẹlẹ́ẹ̀lẹ́ gángan, ẹgbẹ́jọ́. Àṣẹ bẹ̀rẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀, ẹgbẹ́jọ́. Ìsàlẹ̀ ẹlẹ́ẹ̀lẹ́ gángan, ẹgbẹ́jọ́. Góńgó, góńgó, góńgóró, góńgó, pàdé mi nísàlẹ̀. Ní Waziri ọmọ. Àwọn dà.
If you have been a desire, if you have been a desire, this year might be your year. See, I wanted to inspire you to do what you aspire, your desire. Somebody gonna marry this year, make the money happen this year. Let me tell you something about this year. This year must be better than last year. It's your year, you know this is your year. It's your year, yeah. And this is my year. Till automatic it's my year. And this is my year. My year, yeah. It's my year. Till automatic it's my year. I'm winning this year. My year, yeah. Don't worry, you got it this year, you won't die. Don't worry, you got it this year, you must shine. Are you to my side? Yeah, you see the bright side. Yeah. Somebody gonna marry this year, make the money happen this year. Let me tell you something about this year. This year must be better than last year. Somebody gonna marry this year, make the money this year. automatic, it's in my yard. And the seeds in my yard. My yard, my yard. It's in my yard. The automatic, it's in my yard. I'm winning this year.
When she come for the area, say all the man them Joe Ajo, all the boys down Kulugu. Say that they dance to Kulugu. You feeling me, baby, while I'm golo. I'm the king of the Kunto, and they loving the way I do this uncle. I'm a kawaii and jogodo. Step that baby, come be mine now. I don't my shit down. In all the days you don't take, I don't my shit down. Say baby, give me your low. I don't my shit down. Because I love you with all my heart. Go romance me now. Oh, wind up, hey yeah, oh my, school, Kaliana, oh mama, oh father, oh nana. I said no other, Asia, China, you know I wanna control, oh ja. If I tell you, say I love you, oh, my money, my body, now your own, oh baby. 30 billion for the account, yo. Yeah, Versace and Gucci for your body, oh baby. No do, gotta for me. No do, say that, oh. No do, shakara, oh. No do, gotta for me, oh. Yeah. Fall, sun will shine, night go rise. Never say no to yourself. Time will come, you go make you no rush. We're so hungry. Today, not today for someone. So keep on knocking hard. Your time will surely come. Moro day for you. So never give up, oh, you'll be royalty. Never give up, never give up, never give up, never give up, she royalty, never give up, she royalty. Never give up, she royalty, never give up, he royalty, never give up, we royalty. Live life with all of your heart. No matter what comes your way, we're royal, we're loyal, we're full of light. You're a king, you're a queen, your time has come. You must know that you're chosen, and you must know of your greatness, and you must know that we're one. I know you feel it, yeah. You must know that you're chosen, and you must know of your greatness, and you must know that we're one. I know you feel it. Yeah. Hey, mama, never give up, hey, papa, never give up, never give up, hey, baby, never give up, you royalty, hey, brother, never give up, hey, sister, never give up, hey, daughter, never give up, you royalty. Give me the walk, give me the walk, give me the walk, give me the walk, give me the walk. I come for this walk. Sign me up, I come for this walk. Sign me up, I come for this walk. Sign me up, I come for it. Boss lady, I come for this walk. Sign me up, I come for this walk. Sign me up, I come for this walk. And I go walk it properly. I wanna sign my signature, cross my T's, cause I have all the requirements that you need. My resume is flawless, suitable, diverse, reliable. If you're hiring, I just want to go to work. Boss lady, I come for this work. Sign me up, I come for this work. Sign me up, I come for this work. Sign me up, I come for it. Boss lady, I come for this work. Sign me up, I come for this work. Sign me up, I come for this work. I don't work it from right. Careful what you're doing. Careful how you're living, baby. This is not a movie. Live your life, but you could take it slow. Take it slow. it to risk it all. And then you can't pay your bills them at all. Laugh tonight and cry in the morning. Oh gosh, girl, all I'm saying, careful what you're doing. Careful how you're living, baby. This is not a movie. Live your life, but you could take it slow. Take it slow. For the love of Calypso, oh, I say we are finger. Is the love of the tempo? Oh, I say we are finger. For the love of Calypso, for the love of the tempo. Mama used to say, son, stay. Don't you throw your gifts away. For the thing come from far, so far. Somewhere up in Africa. Ooh. Let me show them who is the real champion. In the land of sweet woman and the steel pan. I know you hold them like mighty shadow. The blame mouth man, they call him Coco. Kitchen half thing with the tempo. The king of the world, they call him Sparrow. For the love of Calypso, oh, latte, we are finger. Is the love of the tempo? Oh, latte, we are finger. For the love of Calypso, for the love of the tempo. When everybody wants to just dance your stress away. Just dance bad vibes away. Just dance troubles have you down. Just dance them away. Just dance your stress away. Just dance bad vibes away. Just troubles have you down. Just dance them away. And we dancing, dancing. I saw we dancing, dancing. Yes, we dancing, dancing. We dancing, dancing. Yeah, we dance, Hey, come let me dance, Yeah, let me dance, Let me dance. I say, for the bell of the trumpet. Yeah, just dance in my way. For the bell of the world. And dance in my way. Come sa. Dancing.
I don't understand what you're trying to black man. Keep it real. And I undertake and you can't trust none of them. Let me tell you about that you friendly me. Yeah. Quick to sell you out, nobody nasty like them. Let me tell you about that you friendly me. They will pretend to build you up. That's right. Just to pull you down. They will say for you to lose your crown. If you fool me once, then shame on you. And if you fool me again, then shame on me. And then we don't rock with them. Go away, rock so. Rock away, better rock so. Go away, rock so. Rock away. Go away, rock so. Rock away, better rock so. Go away, rock so.
Be level action. You don't need nobody else there. Baby, just me and you. We could do anything that you want, anything that you're into. It could be private party. Nobody watching this, so we go jam on we want to jam. In the private party. Nobody watching this, so we go jam on we want to jam on we want to jam.
Alright, right there. What's the scene, yeah? You whine and you grind and you bubble and go down the way you whine, yeah. Girl, you fine, yeah. You move in time, yeah. The way you whine and you grind and you bubble and go down there. Down, whine and go down there. Down little bit, whine and go down there. Down little bit, whine and go down there. Down little bit, whine and go down there. I like the way you move, yeah. Round and round is the way you move your hips.
baby, wine and work your hips. Yeah. Down little bit, wine and go down there. 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 Down little bit,
give me the island breeze, cool them vibes. Coconut jelly, peas and rice, house and land, and we sharp like a knife. Green in abundance, real love around me, yeah. You want to know where we coming from? Say you want come look for me, yeah. If you're willing to have some fun, I could keep you company. Move that way, come girl, blunder right by me. Squeeze that tight, make a trip down there. Neighbor, oh, yes, you kindly. Miss Jolie, know your mango sweet, so Jolie, know your mango sweet. Tell me how it ripe and sweet, so Jolie, know your mango sweet. It's been a while, yeah. Oh, yeah. Since we built a vibe, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, yo, so let me build it. Y'all grind fine like chili, baby. Real things start, I no time for no gimmicks. Good vibes only, keep that around me, Let me build it. Move that waist one time skillfully. Y'all you know you look so fine naturally. Real vibes only, keep that around me. Keep that. What?
It's something fun. It's a snack. It's something fun. In 4, 3,
Procedure.
Give me a little something. Little something. Give me a little something. Little something. It's a snack. Give me a little something. Little something. It's a something. Give me a little something. Little something. Real girl, whining old woman. Real girl, whining old woman. Real girl, whining old woman. Real girl, whining. Real girl, whining old woman. Real girl, whining old woman. Real girl, whining old woman. Real girl, whining. It's a snack. It's a something fun. Strictly facts. From front or the back. One big girl's team. It's a snack pack. It's a
Yeah. I hear they say what don't kill only make you stronger, nah, nah. But Lord, I can't take the dirty ways no longer, nah, nah. I don't know if you ain't noticed, but I own money and progress. If you have ulterior motives, get me loud and clear. Don't call me. I don't want them people call me, 'cause I own a different vibes, and you have some different vibes. Whoa, don't call me. No, 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 no. Safer after risk my peace of mind. Tell the devil you look, boy, you ain't find me. I'm not where I really want to be. So please don't try and heavy me. Oh no, 'cause 2020 was fresh already. So I ain't losing no sleep for nobody. I don't know if you ain't noticed, but I own money and progress. If you have ulterior motives, hear me loud and clear. Don't call me. I don't want them people call me, 'cause I own a different vibes, and you have some different vibes. Oh, don't call me. And anyway I see them passing, it's a big way. No long talk, no small talk, it's a big way. I go hear you from a distance, it's a big way. Don't talk, you won't talk, it's a big way.
Oftentimes, life is so hard. Trust me, I know that. Trust me, I know that. And oftentimes, I can't seem to find any motivation. It's only frustration. But I can't afford to slow the pace. Now it's not time to lose the faith. One thing I know, mommy race a fighter, fighter. But mind the people want me fail, but each time I fall, I rise again. Till I get in that satisfaction, yeah. I will try, them try. Them can't take my joy. Them can't take my joy from me. No way, that will lie, them lie, them lie. Them can't take my joy. Them can't take my joy from me. No way, that's why I'm still winning, still smiling, counting my blessings every day, every day, every day. I'm still winning, still shining, counting my blessings every day, every day. Oftentimes, you feel like you have too much to bear, but hold on tight, don't let your heart full up of fear. 'Cause sometimes, hard times will show you who you have on your side, yeah. Who down for the ride, yeah. I can't afford to slow the pace. Now is not time to lose the faith. One thing I know, mommy raise a fighter, fighter. Bad minded people want me fail, but each time I fall, I rise again. Them ain't getting that satisfaction, yeah. That why all they try, them try. Them can't take my joy. Them can't take my joy from me. No way, that why all they lie, them lie. Them can't take my joy. Them can't take my joy from me. No way, that's why I still winning, still smiling, counting my blessings every day, every day, every day. I still winning, still shining, counting my blessings every day. Yeah, me know.
Sweet soca music, sweet soca music. If you only know how much I love you, if you only know how much I love you. How when the music play, I must wind up. How when the DJ play, the vibes right up. How when the music play, that is what I love. I must have to shake something when the music play. I need soca therapy. That is the only remedy. I need soca therapy. That is the only thing I need. Well, everybody just start a wave and jump up. Start a wave and jump up, jump up. Start a wave and jump up. Start a wave and jump up, jump up. Start a wave and jump up. Start a wave and jump up, jump give me me I need me therapy. Listen, I need soca music. I need my sweet soca music. I want to wind away and go down low. And if you don't like soca, then forget you, I'm leaving. How when the music play, 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 I must wind up. How when the DJ play, 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 the vibes right up. How when the music play, 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 that is what I love. I must have to shake something when the music play. I need soca therapy. That is the only remedy. I need soca therapy. That is the only thing I need. Well, everybody just start a wave and jump up. Start a wave and jump up, jump up. Start a wave and jump up. Start a wave and jump up, jump up. Start a wave and jump up. Start a wave and jump up, jump up. Start a wave and jump up. From the bottom of my heart, soca, I love you bad. Boy, just give me my therapy. Lord, I need my therapy.
Caesar. It's not like that, man. You know, they come and they just start beating up and jumping on one of the other little apes, and then they say, "Oh, now I'm the alpha." It doesn't work like that. The gorilla community is so amazing because, you know, it's like you can look at different animal kingdoms to learn different things about different components of our social structures. Well, if you want to learn about regality and decorum, study gorillas. You know, and of course, they're never presented to us like that, and that's a part of the trick. But, you know, those alphas rule through grace. They're very strategic. You know, they're not as brutish as media or cartoons or even maybe the Nature Channel would have you to believe. You know, everything is not mortal or life or death. They learn to lead through cues. And even the betas learn to accept their role through subtle cues by putting their head down at certain times or moving into certain spaces and things like that to make it clear, like, you know, I'm recognizing that you've established something here, you know, that you've already established a domain here, and I'm not trying to infringe upon your domain, you see. But it's through subtle, very regal cues that gorillas do this. So, but anyway, you know, we're just speaking here about, you know, how one can stretch the limits, the very limits of what they are. And when you begin to get to that, things become very focused. You find yourself even like, and that's why strenuous activity becomes such a beautiful tool for meditation. You know, I often tell people that, you know, I know some people have trouble sitting still to meditate. You don't always have to do that. You know, you can move and meditate too. It's just as valid. You know, you still can be a part of the meditation club if you have trouble sitting still. You know, you can meditate and exercise. Some people meditate very well in the shower. You know, but movement or pushing yourself to your limits. You may do a lot of push-ups or you run or do cardio, and you find that your mind becomes very, very clear in that moment because you cease thinking. You know, you come into that space like you're a child again. Things feel new because you push yourself to a new place. Well, that's one of the key formulas of change in that sense, is having that ability or that desire to move yourself into a new place. And sometimes that requires that discomfort of accepting the myopic idea that there's one thing wrong with me. And, you know, you find that when you say that there's one thing wrong with you, it feels very big because it almost feels like it's a God. Like let's say if I said, okay, the one thing wrong with me is that I'm disrespectful. Disrespect is my one issue, which causes all the problems in my life. Now, in many senses, when you begin to define the actual issue, it takes on a quality where you now have something to confront. But as long as we tap around it and we play around it, it maintains its mysticism. Well, we'll speak about the symptoms. Well, I tend to curse people out. Well, I tend to be selfish. Well, I tend to cut people off when they speak. Well, I tend not to listen to people. You know, we could just go through all of the different symptoms of a disrespectful person. You know, I tend to be, you know, I overstep boundaries a lot. I'm a perpetual line stepper, so forth and so on. And then if someone says, well, why do you think you're that way? What are we going to say? I don't know. Right? That's the Lord. The God is a mysterious God, and his ways are mysterious and unknown to man. I don't know. I could never know, but you can know. You see, you can remove yourself outside of the mysticism. You see. Oh, I just glanced at the chat room. So Brother Byron asked, one thing, Chief, or one thing we're aware of? One thing. Yeah, brother, one thing. And sometimes one thing that some never become aware of because of a lack of development. There's always, just like there is a fractal point that brought your existence into being. You came into being from one point. So we can trace. That's why when you look at the symbol of Ra, the circle with the dot, which not coincidentally is the reason, but Irosu, Meiji, two circles with a dot in the middle. Two concentric circles with a dot in the middle, and Irosu, meaning Oshun sings but connects you to the idea of the menses. In our tradition we have Osu, which is the moon, right? Very similar to Oshun or Irosun or Irosu, right? So but it speaks about us all coming from that one dot, which is where the power is, coming from that one place. So it's the same thing. Your existence comes into being from one fractal point, and your issues coming to being from one fractal point. Your purpose comes from one question. Now, that one question may lead you down many roads because there may be multiple paths that you have to traverse in order to answer said question. There may be many paths that you may go through, or many detours, let's say, that you'll take from the path because of the one issue. You see, and then sometimes we'll start looking at the detours like that's the actual issue. How many times have we looked at family members or friends who are enraptured and enslaved by drug addiction and abuse? And we'll say their problem is that they're addicted to drugs. But that's not actually the problem. It's never the problem. You see? The problem is the root of what causes them to desire what it is that the drugs bring. Most time it's a high. They want to escape the body. Well, so escapism is your issue. Well, what are you escaping from? Maybe that brings us close to what the actual issue is. Well, I was molested as a child. Okay. And those memories come back, or the nightmares come back. So I'm always looking to escape. I move around a lot. I never stay in one place. I'm very fidgety, this, that. And now I learned about this drug thing. I've learned about drugs now, and drugs allow me another means of escape. Okay, well, is that any different than someone who stays in ritual all day and night? Or someone who takes mushrooms, or someone who just does things. Maybe they're sexual addicts. They use sex as their means of escape, or they use video games. I know there are many people, males in particular, who have these adult addictions to gaming systems, as a means of escape. You see, there's so many different ways. The society has established so many very colorful and attractive methods and ways that you can escape. You can escape through food. People bite into it. You watch a commercial, somebody bites into something. That's good. They completely go outside of themselves. Now, is the issue that they eat too much? No, not really. That's a symptom of something. Is the issue that they want to ritualize too much? No, the issue is a symptom of something else. So ultimately, when you get down to it, there's going to be one issue. Just like ultimately, when you get down to it, it's going to be one purpose. Because remember, the further we go away from our divine essence, the further we go into the land of duality. And duality is really the land of multiplicity. You have, because after duality is triplicity, then quadplicity, then pentaplicity. It just keeps going and going until we just say, okay, it's multiplicity. Right. But ultimately, the multiples and the complexity of the multiples become more apparent because we've gone further and further away from our source. We've come further and further away from Olodumare. And then once we come Right out of Oludumare, what do we step into? Rumila Obatala Duduwa. Triplicity right there. Then once we come outside of that triplicity, what do we have? Oya, Ogun, Shango, Yemoja, Nanan Buklu. You know, we just keep going, and then we go further down, further down, further down, further down, and then it gets wider and wider and wider and wider and wider. So then we'll look at all of these different paths of saying, well, my purpose is you know, is to serve people, right? Okay. But then when we go a little bit beyond that and we go beyond the human consciousness, we'll say, well, my purpose is to serve the spirit world. Okay. That's still pretty vast. Then we might go a bit further beyond that and we say, well, my purpose is to serve the land of souls. Now, the land of souls, in our tradition, that's the land of the Egungun. We call it the land of souls. Okay. So, you know, which exists beyond the Orisha realm. So we'll say, okay, well, my purpose is to serve the land of souls. Yeah, okay, well, maybe it's a little bit something more of that. My purpose is to serve my soul. Okay, that goes beyond that, you know. So, but you notice that the further and further you go, the more narrow the pathway becomes, until eventually it converges upon one fractal point. That's inherent and indicative of how one's purpose unfolds. You know, how it falls, and it falls into complexity. And as we rise, it becomes much simpler. You know, some people, you know, who have transitioned are only known by a sentence, you know, or maybe not even that much by, you know, you think of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Many of us, we think of one phrase, do for self. It's pretty simple. And he taught a lot, wrote his books, you know, started a whole organization, a whole nation, in fact. But do for self, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? That's what he was telling us to do. Do for yourself, for yourself, for yourself, for yourself, for yourself, for yourself, for yourself.
Daddy, one them gonna change the world.
It's true. Just think for the girls. If I could change the world, there'd be no hatred or envy. Show love for real, no pretending. If I could change the world, there'd be no race, no color. There'd be more love, not drama. If I could change the world, it would be somewhere out here. There'd be no 9 to 5 here. If I could change the world, but that's me. If it were you, what would you do? Yeah.
Change. Today's episode is about movement. So you know I have to bring the soca because you know you can't stay still with soca and you can't stay still in Anu. I want to give thanks to all of you for joining, and of course respect to Chief for providing the space for all of us to build and level up. It's been real, family. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you next episode, but at 12 p.m. Remember, we have our Midday Affirmative on Anu Life Global Ministries Clubhouse, YouTube, and Facebook. See you there. Peace.
It's true. Just think for the girls. If I could change the world.